Hello guys, you are welcome back to my channel. So in today's tutorial I'm going to be showing you how I cut and sew this beautiful gown you are watching on the screen right now. You can see the sleeve, one place is no longer the other. So I'm going to be showing you how I cut it and how I sew it from beginning to the end. So if you are looking for something like this, you can just stay back and watch this tutorial. So this is the fabric here right now. This is it. So for this tutorial, we will need our chalk, our scissors, and our tape rule for this tutorial. So I already placed the front and the back together. So here is it. This is the front. I already fold it, and this is the back as well. Is fold as well. And for the zip allowance, I already had my zip allowance to the front, to the back bodies, which is 1 inch and quarter. I use 1 inch and quarter. You can use 1 inch for your zip allowance. You can decide to use 1.5 for your zip allowance. So people use 2 as well, but for me I always use 1 inches for my zip allowance. But for this tutorial I use 1 and quarter. So this is it. Let's get back to work right now. So the first thing we are going to measure is the person shoulder measurement. The person shoulder measurement is what we are going to do. So our shoulder is 16. 16 divided by 2 will give us 8. 16 divided by 2 will give us 8, plus ½ inch sewing allowance, plus our ½ inch sewing allowance. So let's add that to it. So let's add the ½ inch sewing allowance to it. This is it. This is our ½ inch sewing allowance. Can you see that? So now the next thing we are going to do now is to measure out our chest line. So for this chest line, our chest line is 8.5, and for our half length is 15. Then from our half length to our hip line, which is our hip, we are going to measure 7. So now we have our hip line, our half length, and we have our hip line, our half length, and our chest line. That is what we have for this gown that we are doing. So let's rule it out. Let's rule the half length and everything out. So here at the chest line, we are going to measure the same thing we measure at the shoulder. We are going to measure it right here. Then we are going to rule it still up. Let's rule it out. I hope you are getting it. Let's rule it out as shown. So after doing that, the next thing you are going to do is to determine the midpoint of this place. Here we have 8.5 here. Then what is the half of 8.5? Let's chalk that out. This is it. That's the half, that's the midpoint of this. Then after doing that, you're going to measure your ½ inches from here. So just chalk this, yes. Then place your armhole ruler, armhole cuff, and do your shaping now. I hope you are getting it. Just do your shocking, chalk it out. The shock is not showing. Let me use this one since the shock is not showing like that. Can you see that? That's our armhole. That's our arm cuff. Then the next thing we are going to do now is to measure out the person bust measurements. The person bust measurements. What is our bust? Our bust is 36. 36 divided by 4 will give us 9. Yes, then I use 1.5 for sewing allowance and stuff like that. So I added 1.5. Then I'll come to the waistline. What is our waist measurement? Our waist is 28. 28 divided by 4 will give us 7, plus the same thing plus 1.5 inches. I use 1.5 for this tutorial. 1.5. Then you come to the hip line and measure our hip. What is our hip? Our hip is 37. 37 divided by 4 will give us 9.25. To give you 9.25. Then I'm going to add my 1.5 inches as well to the hip line. Then the next thing we are going to do now is to connect the three together. The person bust measurement, our waist, and our hip measurement. That is it. We just connect it like that. Then the next thing I'm going to do now is to come to the down of the gown. Now, what do we have at the hip measurement? I'm going to be using 10 inches for the down part. I'll be using 10. So 10 divided by 4. 10 times 4 rather, it will give us 40. So I will be using 10 for the down part. How do you get the down part of your gown, or your pencil gown? How do you get the down part? Just calculate the person hip measurement minus 1 or minus 2 inches. Then it will give you what you want at the down part. Can you see that? So this is it. The next thing we are going to do now is to move to the person neckline. Let's go to our neckline. For the neckline, I'll be using 3.5. I'll be using 3.5. Let's chalk it. 3.5 by 3.5. Yes, that is what I use. I use 3.5 by 3.5. That is 3.5 by 3.5. That is what I use for our neckline. Then I'll come to the shoulder slope to do my shoulder slope. This is it. I use 1 inches for the shoulder slope. Can you say that? I use 1 inches for the shoulder slope. That's what I have. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to take out my back measurements. The back. So for the back, I'll be using 1 inches. 1 inches. Then I'll cut it exactly here. So let me cut the shoulder slope. Let's cut it out. Yes. Then I'll cut this. I'll be able to do this to this place as well. I hope you are getting it. If there is anything you don't understand, you can just leave a comment at the comment section and I'm going to answer you. Can you see that? So let's cut out our fabric. So the next thing I'm going to measure is the person length. Our full length is 40. Then I'm going to notch it right here because I'm going to be using full lining for it. So I just notch where the lining is going to start. And that is that about that. This is what that is that about the body. Now let's move to the sleeve. Let's cut out the sleeve. The sleeve we are cutting is a flare sleeve. Is a flare sleeve. So let's cut it together and see how I'm going to do that. So this is it. Can you see? Just fold it as shown. When you count this thing that I fold now, it's going to give you 8 pieces. Like it's going to be 8 when you count it. This is a full flare. This is a full flare. So I'll be using 10 inches for the length. I'll be using 10 inches. So let me just chalk this place. Chalk out this place. after folding it. I don't know, depending on the length you want to use, but for this tutorial I'll be using 10 inches. So this is how you do it. Place your tape rule as shown. So I just place my tape rule here. This is where exactly where I cut it. That's where I place my tape rule. Then I measure my 10 from there, and let me cut it out. So this is what we have after cutting it out. Can you see? Now after cutting it out like this, place it as shown. Place it like this. Then the next thing we are going to do now, to the armhole side, the place you are using, just determine anywhere you want to use for the armhole, and measure out from the 10 that we cut. You are going to minus 4 inches from the 10. So that's why I have 6 here. Then just chalk it out as shown. Can you see? Just chalk it out like that. Yes, just chalk it out like this. So by the time you wear it like this, the down part will not be coming, it will not be showing. Like the armhole side, it will not be longer. That's why you do it like this. So you have to notch the middle part, notch that exact place that is going to fall at the armhole side, like they're going to fall at the down part side. I hope you are getting it. So you're going to, the same way you cut that one, you're going to cut the second one as well, like that. Let's cut it out and see. So this is it. I already cut the second one out. So I'm going to use the first one I cut. I'm going to use it to trim the second one as well, so that one will not be longer than the other one. So let's cut it out now. Can you see? So this is it after cutting it out. So the next thing I'm going to do now, I'm going to be using bias to turn the neckline, to turn the down part of this flare. I'll be using bias to turn it. So let me show you the bias that I'll be using to turn it. And here is our bias that we are going to use to turn the sleeve, and that is that. So the next thing we are going to do now is to cut out my interfacing for the body. I have to cut the lining. So this is the lining I want to use, this lining. So let's cut it out and see how it goes. After cutting it, I'll take it for sewing and turn it and bring it back. So this is it after turning it. This is the back bodies after sewing it. I already sew it, and this is it after turning it. This is what we have. This is what we have. This is what you are going to have after you turn it. And after you are done with this, the next thing you are going to do now is to take your darts. You're going to be taking your darts, but before that, take your pin, take your measurements, measure out how many inches you are leaving for your zip allowance, how many inches are you leaving for the slits at the down parts. So for this gown now, I'll be leaving 9 inches for the slit at the back. You can decide to leave 7 inches, you can decide to leave 8 inches, you can even leave 6 inches if you don't want it to open much, you understand. And then for the zip, you are going to measure out, depending on your choice. You can decide to use 19 or 20. You can use 19, you can use 20, and this is what you are going to have. So you are going to stitch from here, this end to this end, you understand. And then we are going to take our darts. So let's take that to go and do that. Let's go and take our darts, and this is our front body as well. We have already turned the front body as well, so we are going to take our darts for the front as well. So let's take it and take our darts and bring it back. I'll bring it back after taking the darts. And this is our This is our sleeve. We already turned it with our bias. This is it. Like I said, I'm going to be using bias to turn it. So now, after turning it now, this is the smaller place. This is this side that is shorter. That's where you are going to put at the down part of your armhole. That's what you are going. You are not going to be putting it at the shoulder side. No, that's shorter side. And this is our back. We already take our darts. This is the back. I already take the darts, and this is what we have after taking the darts. This is what we have. This is what you're going to have after taking your darts. Then the next thing you're going to do is to go and do your slits and put your sip. Go and fix that like we did the other, like we said. So take it, and after doing that, I'm going to show you again. So let's go and do that. So now the next thing we want to do now is to join our shoulder. So I'm going to be showing you how to do that. Just take the two piece facing each other and take one lining. Take one of the lining as shown and use it to stitch it. Take one of the lining and use it to turn it so that it will look like ready-made and the stitching will be neat. That's how you're going to do this. It's going to look like after turning your armhole. This is what you're going to have. And after doing that, we already turned the two armhole. The next thing we are going to do now is to join the body. Take the person body measurements and join it together. Take the person body measurements and join it together as shown. So you are going to repeat the same thing for the other side as well. You are going to join it as well. After joining the body, then the next thing you are going to do is to fix your flare on the armhole. You're going to fix the flare on the armhole, and your dress is ready to rock. So this is it after sewing everything together. This is what we have after joining the body. Thank you so much for watching this channel. If today is your first time of watching my channel, please don't forget to subscribe, and please don't forget to leave your comments. Can you see the sleeve? One place is no longer than the other. All the armhole side is rhyme because of the way we do it. Thanks for watching. God bless you. Bye.